I'm Shailyn and I sew. I know it's been a while since I posted a YouTube video, so I figured I would come back with a very quick tutorial on how I made a pumpkin hat. Now, I have made a pumpkin beanie before, but I wanted a hat that I could wear to work that was a little bit more elevated and kind of more professional as a pumpkin hat can be. So this video is actually a twofer because I ended up making two different patterns and two different hats from this. So hopefully this video will help you make your very own beret in whatever style and design that you would like based off of how I did my pattern making. Alright, so for this beret I wanted to do an 8-panel beret. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make an 1/8 of the pattern piece. So the first thing I'm going to do is measure my head circumference, and for me that is 22 inches. So that makes my radius 3.25 inches. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw that out. And so the reason I am doing this radius is to make sure that my beret is bigger than my head circumference. There's that, and then I'm going to add 2 inches to make it a little bit bigger. And this is going to be the biggest part of my pumpkin. Alright, so I'm using a half sheet of paper, so obviously this is not enough space, but as you can see, this is a 1/4 circle, and I'm doing an 8-panel beret, so all I need is just half of this. So right now I'm just gonna fold this in half like a pie, and this line is going to mark my 1/8. So now what I want to do is mark that. So this is 1/8 of my hat, which means I'm going to need 8 pieces of this. So now what I want to do is I want the bottom of the hat to still fit my head. So this is my circumference, and then this is the part that goes around my head that's a little bit bigger, but I still want the inside of the hat to fit my head properly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this in half again, and this is just to make sure that I keep everything centered. And so my circumference is 22 inches, and I'm going to divide that by 8. That's going to be 2.75. So this is my center mark right here. So 2 inches from that second circle that I've created, I'm going to mark out, I'm going to square it off, and I'm going to mark out 2.75 inches. I'm going to make it sure it's centered. So if you can't do the math, or if it's kind of weird, I recommend just using a tape measure. So this is 2.75 right here, folding that in half, and that's your center. So you could do that and find the center that way. Oh, I was a little off. That's 2.75. And that part will go and fit my head. So what I'm going to do is curve it. And cut this out. Now this is going to be my pattern piece. Now before you cut it out, you could add the seam allowance, but I've already cut it out, so I know that when I cut out the pattern pieces I need to make sure I add seam allowance. But this is your pattern piece. You're going to cut out 8 of them and basically sew them on each side, and you're just going to stitch right here, and it's going to go all the way around. Once you're done, this is what you end up with. This is my mock-up, and as you can see, it goes out to that second circle we created, and then it'll come in and meet in the center. When you turn it right side out, this should fit onto your head right here. So this is the first one. I think it's super cute, but I think it is flatter than I'd like. It is a beret basically, but I'd really like to have it poof a little bit more and look more like a pumpkin. You know how the pumpkin has the ridges? I think I'm going to do that and try to alter the pattern a little bit and see how that one works. So let's work on that pattern. I want to see if I can fluff this out a little. So to make it poof, I need to curve this part as well. So I'm going to trace this onto another piece of scrap paper. And I think what I'm going to do is just, instead of having this ice cream kind of cone shape, I'm going to curve this out. Wonder if that's enough. Wonder if I need to poof it out more. I think I'm going to poof it out a little bit more. The edge. I think I'm going to poof it out by 1/2 inch. Now it kind of looks like a teardrop, except it's kind of flat at the top. So I'm going to cut this out, add seam allowance on my fabric, and see how that looks, see if it poofs out a little bit more. So that's my new pattern piece. And this is the old one. So hopefully this adds a little bit of poof. The first one that I did, and it lays flat because this part is flat. Goal of that one is to make it kind of poof up a little bit, and I think I got that. It is definitely poofier. It does go in still, so that will fit my head. It's just the outside is a little bit, you know, poofier, fluffier, pumpkinier. So I'm gonna put it on. Alright, so this is what it looks like. It is a lot poofier on the seams, but I'm not sure I like it. I don't know. I like the beret a little bit better. I like how it's worn, but I know how to wear a beret. I don't really know how to fluff this up to look cute. I'm going to see if I have black fabric, and if I do, then I will do this version in a spiderweb and this version in a pumpkin. So we'll see if I like it better when it's orange and pumpkin-y and not just like a plain beret. So good news, I found some black fabric and I cut it out with this first pattern first, the flat one, and I did 8 of them, and I also cut out 22-inch band to go around my head with seam allowance, and it is 1.5 inches wide. First thing you're gonna do is take each pair and sew it on one side. Now that I have stitched one side of each pair together, I'm going to open it up, and that is the right sides together, and I'm going to stitch 2 of them together on one side only. So I'm going to stitch right here again. And now once that's done, you're going to open that up again. You have 4 pieces sewn together. You're going to stitch them again, right sides together, like this. All the way around this time. Now that that's sewn together, you're going to flip it right side out. And you have your beret. Because I think this looks like a spider web, I am going to make a spider web pattern top stitching. Alright, there it is. Now all I have to do is put this together, stitch right here, and then stitch this all the way around, fold it over, and stitch over the edge, and it'll be done. Now for the pumpkin, you're going to need to cut out 8 pieces again, except using the rounder piece, and you will be sewing it the same exact way. So right sides together, you're going to sew each pair on each side, and then again you're going to open it up and do the same thing and stitch it all together until all 8 pieces are stitched together. You're also going to want to make a leaf and a stem. So my leaf, I did like a lily pad shape, but you can do a regular leaf shape. And then my stem looks like a bow tie. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch the stem on each, fold it over, stitch the stem on each side, and have that stick up like that at the very top after I stitch this hat together. Here is my hat. I will hand stitch this stem, put it right here in the middle, hand stitch it, and I will hand stitch the leaf just right around there, and I will be done. Well, I hope you all enjoyed this video. As usual, if you have any questions, feel free to comment down below. You can also send me pictures on Instagram at Shylin Sews if you ever decide to make your own pumpkin hat or themed style beret. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to my channel. Happy sewing!